Have you ever wondered why hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports? So when you go to a baseball game, have you ever seen how the hitters can hit the ball at such high speeds? Well, to the average person, it may seem simple, but in reality, it's way more difficult than you can ever imagine. For me, from my experience, I have over 15 years of experience with playing baseball, and from my experience with hitting and my fellow hitters, that's nothing I've ever seen or anything I can compare it to. Over the course of this speech, I will inform you of how hitting a baseball is the hardest thing you can do in sports. One of the reasons is velocities, reaching speeds that mankind has never seen. The different varieties of pitches that are being thrown, and the distance between the pitcher and the hitter. To start off, pitches are being thrown harder than ever, and no one seems to know why. So over the course of 50 years, the Major League Baseball has recorded velocities of pitchers and from that study, each year velocities have gone up half of a mile per hour. And according to Baseball America, the hardest pitch ever recorded was dated back in 2019 by a man named Aroldis Chapman, who threw a pitch at over 106 miles an hour. Now that's just crazy. No one has ever thrown a ball harder than 100 miles an hour, and this guy did it +6. That's just unheard of. Like who can do that? And now 2 years later, guys are throwing 100 miles an hour consistently, and it seems like people are throwing harder and harder. And according to the commissioner Rob Manfred, the reason why batting averages are on the decline is because of pitchers' evolution and the arm speeds that are being recorded, and is making it way harder on the pitchers, which is why he wants to move the mound back a little more. So from the start of baseball, the pitcher's mound has always been 60 feet and 6 inches, but science has shown why that distance is way too close. So according to popsci.com, on average, it takes about 0.00 milliseconds for a ball that's being thrown over 95 miles an hour to reach home plate. But the batter has only 0.035 of that millisecond to react to the ball and hit it. And according to MLB hitting coach and home run leader Barry Bonds, hitting the baseball, the way to hit the baseball, the best way to hit it, is to hit it at a 45-degree angle. And even if you do hit at a 45-degree angle, there's no telling how your timing can be off. And also, with the speeds of the ball and you can't track it as fast, 3.75 milliseconds. There's no telling, and you don't even know whether it's a ball or a strike. You just don't know where the ball is going. And also another factor is the umpire's strike zone. Each umpire is different, and you don't know where the ball is going to be or whether it's going to be a strike or a ball. And it's even harder for hitters to even differentiate whether the ball is going to be a ball or a strike. Which leads me to my next point, determining the difference of pitches. So nowadays, pitchers have over 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5 pitches if they're good enough. And since velocities are so high, which means their off-speed pitches, their changeups, their curveballs, their sliders, they're throwing it with more spin, and that spin creates different movements of the ball, which is harder for the hitters to differentiate when they're hitting. So on top of that 0.1 millisecond, not even 0.1 millisecond, 0.00375, they have to differentiate if it's a fastball, a changeup, or slider, wherever pitch the guy's throwing. And stuff's only getting better and better as years go on. According to Penn State University, determining the difference between a fastball and a curveball is like differentiating two strangers at 0.150 milliseconds. That's just, you can't do that. That just comes with experience and years of training, something that most people do not have. So to conclude, baseball in general is a hard sport, and to top that off, hitting the baseball, compared to other movements in different sports, hitting a baseball is by far the hardest thing to do. And hopefully throughout this speech, I hopefully gave you some insight as to why and how people can do such things. Now I dare you to try to go hit a baseball.